This is a Fox News alert. According to reports, one of the Paris attackers allegedly had a passport that showed that he came from Syria through Greece. Now, should this change our plan to accept refugees right here in the U.S.? Well, according to President Obama, absolutely not.
Many of these refugees are the victims of terrorism themselves. That's what they're fleeing. Slamming the door in their faces would be a betrayal of our values. The people who are fleeing Syria are the most harmed by terrorism. They are the most vulnerable as a consequence of civil war and strife. It is very important, and I was glad to see that this was affirmed again and again by the G20, that we do not close our hearts to these victims of such violence and somehow start equating the issue of refugees with the issue of terrorism.
Oh, so we'll gamble with the lives of Americans? Unbelievable. And that's not all. Over the weekend, Obama's Deputy National Security Advisor, Ben Rhodes, he actually said this.
We're still planning to take in Syrian refugees. We have very robust vetting procedures for those refugees. It involves our intelligence community, our National Counterterrorism Center, extensive interviews, vetting them against all the available information.
Now, keep in mind, Judicial Watch says the FBI has nearly 1,000 active investigations involving ISIS right now in the U.S. And just last month, FBI Director James Comey, he said the following. Watch this.
That group is using social media to try and motivate people to either come to their so-called caliphate, or if you can't come, kill where you are. So we have investigations in all 50 states to try to identify among hundreds of people who are consuming this poison, where are they in stages from consuming to acting, and how do we stop them from acting? That is a preoccupation of the Bureau and our partners in state and local law enforcement all day long in all 56 FBI field offices. That remains with us. There's obviously still a traditional al-Qaeda threat, but what is front of mind today is this crowdsourcing of terrorism that we're facing.
Now, remember, the AP reported that the U.S. will accept 85,000 refugees in 2016, 100,000 in 2017. That equals 185,000. That on top of the 70,000 refugees this year, all told, 255,000, many from Syria. Not all by any means. Joining us now with reaction, the director of Jihad Watch, Robert Spencer, from the Islamic House of Wisdom, Imam Muhammad Ali Alahi, and the president for Act for America, Brigitte Gabriel. Imam, let me start with you. Now, if we have the director of national intelligence, James Clapper, and we have State Department spokesman John Kirby, and we have James Comey, who you heard, and Assistant Director of the FBI, Michael Steinbach, and Homeland Security Committee Chair Mike McCall, all saying it's impossible to vet the 10,000 that the president insisted today will take in from Syria. Why should we risk one American getting hurt in light of what the events in Paris? Why should we risk one American life if they're telling us we cannot vet them all? Can you explain to the American people why we should do that?
I explained to American people that we have to deal with the causes, not the effects.
I just asked you a question. You're not answering my question.
The people of Syria used to live under a secular government in peace and prosperity, a government that was not looking like Saudi Arabia for. They had not the intention of have Sharia law like Saudi Arabia is talking about.
Sir, you don't know. Wait a minute. If one of the terrorists in Paris got through the refugee system there, and they're warning us it can happen here. I'll throw this to Brigitte. Brigitte, 1 + 1 = 2. It would be safe to assume that our intelligence officials are right, and this is a danger to the American people.
We have to stop the criminals. We have to stop the terrorists.
They are a danger to the American people.
Brigitte? Right. Is it possible? To me, it's impossible.
They are a danger to the American people because our intelligence agencies are monitoring the situation. Look, even ISIS came out and said we already have 4,000 ISIS people smuggled into Europe as refugees. ISIS figured it out. They know they're going to send them here within the refugees. Our intelligence community knows it, and that's why we have to be very careful.
Robert Spencer, really quick to you. Why should the people of America allow when our intelligence agency says they cannot, that they will infiltrate the refugee community, why would the president insist on doing that? Isn't that gambling with the lives of the American people?
It is definitely gambling with the lives of American people. And an attack like what happened in Paris, an attack like what happened in Paris is very likely to happen here as a result of this. Look, the Obama administration won't even acknowledge or name the enemy or admit that there's an ideology behind it. And so how are they going to vet? When they won't even admit that this ideology exists, how are they going to vet for it? There's absolutely no way, and it's absurd, and it's bordering on suicidal. It's definitely very much against American interests, and not one refugee should come here.
The Republicans in Congress better take note, and they better stop it. And coming up next, thank you all, right here tonight on Hannity.